Board's really fun. If you're just kind of after something that you can have a lot of fun with, a lot that this has to offer. A lot. I think this board here is gonna be pretty popular. First of all, the price is pretty crazy. The price on this is $149 and wireless adds 20. But this is really cool because it's a 60% keyboard. So this is the same people who made that Darling flippable keyboard type thing. This is a neat little keyboard because it's a 60 with a numpad that you can actually make southpaw or just regular. I'll show you guys. I actually really like the layout. I don't think I've seen something like this in quite some time. It's a really nice hard shell case. It's Win Studio. Flip 6P. Cute. Little pull tab for the keyboard? Excuse me? This is already a big step up in terms of packaging. It even has like the little protection flap. I love this in cases, by the way. Little shout out to any case who includes this little bit over here. You know why? It protects all the stuff on top from touching the keyboard when you're done with it. I absolutely love that feature. So we have our PC plates, foam and looks like feet maybe? PCBs. We'll take a look at the PCB here. I am seeing pogo connectors. It's a nice color actually. This is dark gold. I don't know if I'd classify this as a dark gold. Oh, look at that. I like this little badge on the back here. This is actually really pretty. It kind of recesses down a little bit too, so you get kind of this cool little effect there. Yeah, I don't know if I'd call this a dark gold. This is more of a brown, but this does look really good. Oh, I love this too. I think Win Studios has a track record, or DR Studios too would have this too. They have this kind of like accent piece in the center, which I always really like. I think all of the Win Studios keyboards have had that. And now we can decide whether to make this southpaw or keep it. Oh wait, how does this work? Interesting. So they have pogo connectors, but it's still a screw together case, which makes sense, I guess. They also sent over some aluminum plates and stuff too, but they got so many pogo connectors. Wait, that's kind of sick. Do you guys want me to do southpaw or regular? It's totally up to you guys, because that's the cool thing about this board is we can flip it around. It also comes in about 7 colors. It's $149 for the solderable unit, and then add an extra 20 for the wireless hot swap unit, which we got the wireless one, so our bundle here is $169 technically. They just gave me a very generic date, sometime at the end of August. That's what they said. I have no idea when. I would prefer if they just put coming soon instead of in stock. It makes people, like when I looked at this, I'm like, did this sell out or something? But it did not, so. Have we seen one like this? I don't think we've ever seen a 60 with a numpad that's flippable. This might be a first, which is actually really cool. All right, so what do we got here? And what does it matter? Are these both the same? They're not both the same. You can technically do, well, actually, let me double check plates. I think they give you both because you can do a flipped numpad. Well, I guess you can just install either one, right? Like if you didn't want it to be flipped, you don't have to do it. That is actually so cool. Are these all pogo connectors or something? Look at all these things. So interesting here too. They have the connection. I don't love this, but they have the little toggle switch cut out on the PCB. And instead of making it, on the top and whatnot, kind of have it just fished there. So you definitely have to use tweezers or something. So the plate you can just flip too, because it's just a square. This is actually pretty nice. So far, decent price point. Looks pretty good. It's a pretty standard look, to be honest. Basic box on wedge kind of side profile. Nothing to write home about, but it does look cool with the accent piece. Cool little bottom piece. I don't absolutely love the, work design, DR Works design. It's all right. Feet are already pre-installed, so I don't need to install anything. Lots of pogo connectors, which is interesting. It looks neat so far. It's a 1.6mm PCB, which I really appreciate as well. And I guess layout-wise, for the main part, we kind of gushed about the numpad and didn't look at this. Dude, look at this. Split right. Is that ISO support? What? Okay, ISO support. It's crazy that I have to be excited about that. Split backspace, split left, step caps. It is a fixed spacebar, but I'm fine with that. I get a lot of other options that I'm okay with that. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm actually really excited for this one here today. Yeah, we'll do split right. And then I don't know what we want for numpad. I'm not decided on that yet. Do you intend to match your shirt with the keyboard today? Stop, is it? No way, dude. Nah, it's a little darker. It's a little darker, but it is kind of like the same shade, no? Also, these switches are so pretty looking. These switches are nice looking, dude. All right, so I guess the only confusing part now is which dumbbell goes which way. There's a thicker part of this and a not thick part of this. Switches look good though. Nice and bright. I think the bottom part is the thicker part, but let's open this up because they also have a different notch on these things. Does this board have a magnetic daughter board? Yeah, it's a magnetic daughter board. Believe it or not, I actually really like the look of screws, so I'm here for that. There's that mid piece, by the way, guys. So how does this work? This just stays here, which is cool. There's a battery underneath this guy, and I think a battery underneath this guy. So there's the batteries, that little tiny little baby weight here on the back, which I think looks really nice. Not a whole hell of a lot happening with this, but it does sound pretty solid, which is great. Now, to flip this around, I'm assuming I just do it like this, which makes me beg the question, did I screw something up here? No. Does this get put here? Ah, I move this here. Interesting. So let's do that because you guys want southpaw. Oh, look at that. Actually, in the mid plate, they have these little bumpers. I didn't even notice that. That is really a good idea. It's a little bit of a weird installation for sure. And it's one thing even with the Win series boards that I've always been like, you know, like could be better type thing. But this is interesting too. They got like more pogo connector type things on the top. So no need for cables here. Now, let's put in our little gaskets. All right, so let's put these little guys on now, these little dumbbells. I'm pretty sure the thicker part goes on the bottom. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So we're gonna do the thicker part on the bottom. That's interesting. So it also aligns with the little bumper dumbbell gaskets too. Sits pretty snugly there too, which is good. Oh, look at that. No mounting point under the space bar. Damn, thank you. Finally. That is so seamless. Hold on one second. That is such a nice feeling to just drop this in. And it turns on. That is such a nice feeling. And then this should just literally, I mean, I guess let's just do it like this. This should just pop on here. And then we can, it's gonna be an in-stock drop at the end of August. I'm gonna be on, dude, my one gripe with them was the lack of exact dates. They didn't really give me an exact date. They just said roughly end of August. And then on their website, which makes it more confusing, they put in stock still, even though it's not actually in stock yet. They didn't give you like a date there either. I'm assuming if you follow their Discord, they're gonna, you know, post more dates hopefully, but as of right now, yeah, it's a little confusing as to when the exact date is because it's such a well-priced keyboard and the layout's cool. It's also a flippable layout. Look how weird the switches look in this. Like they look so fake from this angle, but the switches do look really pretty. It's a nice layout too. 60 with a numpad. I do like the separated PCB and plate here. I think this is fantastic. That looks great. I'm curious to see if this actually works though. Like the PCBs, the way they kind of attached. Oh wow, yeah, it's actuating. You don't even need to use a JST here. It connected, it works. So we're using a polycarbonate plate, the ice Sendal switches, some cherry stabs, no foam, but we could add bottom foam if we need. So the alphas are sounding really good so far. It's very crisp. I would like to see this particular spacebar, like this switch, maybe in a different board. I think maybe this board is leaning. Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound as thin. I would probably try a different spacebar, but I mean, I don't want to blame the switch because there's different boards need different space bars. It happens. We've had boards where the Nixies sound terrible. We've had boards where the Nixies sound, you know, they're a hit. I would probably switch to a different one. The alphas though are outstanding. They feel really good. Ice Chendal switches, Chendal. I'm gonna switch to the space bar. Let's switch to a Gatoron switch. I think this board is maybe screaming for something a little bit heavier in sound profile. Or you know what? Let's even do a Obscura switch to start and see how that sounds. Yeah, I think the deeper. Ooh, this is actually a nice pairing right here. Yeah, it's definitely has some bounce, this keyboard too. Ooh, that is a nice pairing. I want to try one thing though. I'm curious. So if you guys don't mind me playing around here for a minute, I'm gonna open one of these up and just kind of move the lube around a little bit. Actually, let's open the one that we used. Plus I wanna see how well this one here is particularly lubed. How's the Numpad? Sounds good. The lube on this one here looks good. I'm gonna move it around a little bit, and I'm also gonna better lube the spring. The one thing that HMX kind of lacks on, ever so slightly, is I feel like they go a little too light on the oil on the springs. So let's just grab our brush here and let's use some lube. Yeah, this sounds way better now. I think it was really the spring there. The spring had a bit of a weird crunch. Maybe it was that one particular one. I mean, that sounds different to me, and that was the exact same switch that we... I'm gonna try the bottom foam on this board because I still feel like the board would benefit from just a small amount of foam on the bottom. Let's just use this foam as intended. Do I like it with the foam? Oddly enough, I might have liked it more before. It didn't really kill any of the flex though. It has a battery. Yeah, I don't know if I like the case foam on this. It just feels too like aggressive and it's kind of like making the keyboard sound flat now. Yeah, I liked it more no foam. Overall though, it sounds still, like I'd still use this and be happy with it. It does sound a little thinner, oddly enough with the foam. I would definitely probably go with no foam, get some of that metallic resonance, like, you know, pumped up with this board. I think the HMX switches worked pretty good with the PC plate here. If you're gonna go aluminum though, I'd probably recommend something super, super deep for the aluminum. Overall, I don't like assign numbers to these things, but I would say the sound profile is like okay of this board. I can definitely tell it's a little hollow, a little empty, a little flat. Not to say that, you know, you can't tune this up and maybe choose a better switch for this, or the switches feel really good. And I want to put some in the sonnet really quick too, just to see how we like them. Overall though, the board's really fun. And I think if you're just kind of after something that you can have a lot of fun with a numpad that's a 60 and a unique layout with a unique overall theming around it, like the flippable 60 with a numpad, a lot that this has to offer. A lot. So very, very cool from Daring Run here. Oh, it sounds great with no desk pad, by the way. Overall though, fun. If you guys, I think my overall thought process on this is if you were looking for something like this, you did want something that, actually what's the front height on this guy? Had a little bit of a, you know, fun build per se. This might be a really good pickup. Front height's really good on this too. It's about, including this little bottom piece over here, about 20. Not bad. Right on the tail end of where I normally like it. So you can probably get the sound to sound a little bit more full. Definitely has like a hollow nature to it, so you probably need to pick specific parts for this. Would like to see Daring Run experiment with a thicker or just more substantial weight here on the bottom. Bye everybody, see ya.